So I'm going to hand over to you so that we can start. It's going to be a
Yeah.
very busy
All
1
right.
hour. All right. So
Yeah.
all the
Thank you
best.
very
Over to
much,
you, Zaki.
Olia Messi, and we'll see you probably in an hour then. Okay. Right. Hello, everyone, and welcome everybody to Academic Writing in Research. I'm going to share my screen here with you. So please let me know if you can see the screen. Here we go. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to check here. I'm going to just display the chat. Okay, thank you very much, Zainab. I do appreciate your kind words. Congratulations to you, to all free world, to all people in the free world. So, as you know, that the first workshop, it was on the 1st of December. And the second one, we're doing it today, and it's going to be like from 6 to 7. Now, the first workshop, we talked about foundations of academic writing. As for today, we are going to talk about more in-depth academic writing in research. Now, the session for today is going to be divided into 2 parts, but before we go ahead, let's just remember what we have talked about previously. So last week we talked about avoiding slang language. It's part of academic register. Academic writing in research, we avoid writing using contractions like don't, doesn't, rather than using do not or does not, and avoiding subjective language instead of saying I and we said that mainly we depend on using the third person singular, which is it and they. Okay, for singular and plural, it and they. And we talked about avoiding using emotional language, and also we focus on using more academic vocabulary. We talked about using formal vocabulary rather than informal one. And one of the aspects of like the vocabulary, or one of the vocabulary that we sometimes depend on using, is that we use a verb and a preposition. And we said that instead of using this, we use one word verb. So instead of using, for example, to set up, okay, we say to establish. And instead of saying looking for, we say discover, etc. And also we talked about using formal transition words, and we said that we use these words for transitioning from let's say one idea to another, and we said that it is very important when we write academically. So we talked about the using of transition words for sequencing events, like when we say first, second, third, following that, and finally. And also we talked about using, when we want to add ideas, like in addition, additionally, furthermore, what's more, and of course we need like to vary between those. And we talked about showing similarity, like when you say in a similar way, similarly, alternatively, or when you talk about showing opposing ideas. And in here, the writer is being critical. So when we're talking about, advantages of something, then we talk about the disadvantages, or talking about merits, and then later on demerits. So in this case, we use on the other hand, however, otherwise, and while. Okay, so these transition words are important because they guide the reader through your writing. We also talked about the use cause and effect, like as a result, consequently, in consequence, and because. And also we talked about the use of passive voice. So instead of saying I conducted a study on EAP Chinese students, so in this case we say a study was conducted on EAP Chinese students. Finally, we talked about that we have to use wide range of sentence structure. We use simple, compound, and complex, and we also practice doing this in the previous session. Now, as for today, what are we going to talk about? Today, we're going to mainly focus on two things, just only two things. So as for today, we are going to focus also because of the time limit. So I thought like these two topics are very, very important. The first one is hedging and using cautious language, being cautious, being careful. When we say hedging, it means to be careful and cautious when you are producing the language. How? This is what we are going to look at today, the first point of our session today. And then we are going to, work together on some sentences where we are going to apply what we have learned, from, applying cautious or hedging language. Next, we are going to talk about paraphrasing, and the paraphrasing is a very important topic in research writing. You find information, and we do not need to fall in the trap of copying somebody else's words. In this case, it will be considered as a plagiarized text. So today we are going to work on this, and also we're going to see like a very short paragraph where I'm going to ask you to do some practice by paraphrasing it. Right. So before we go ahead, good evening, everyone. Yes, before we go ahead, does anybody have any question? So here, let me check.
None for now.
Chat. Okay, thank you very much for your response. Right. So hedging, caution, cautious language, careful language. Now, before we start looking at the text, I'm going to, point out, a controversial character for everyone in here. All right. Many people talked about it, and this character is a controversial one, and many people may agree or disagree with it. And actually, I always bring this character in, in my session because, I would say that it is a good example when we're talking about hedging or cautious language. Right. Now, talking about Donald Trump. Okay. Right. So Donald Trump, I would say the future American president. So some people might think of him as like the worst president in the whole world. Now, if I say, for example, Donald Trump is the best president in the world. Okay, what do you think of that? All right. Yeah. What do you think of this? If, I say that President Donald Trump is the best president in all American history. What do you think of that? So I can see in here Oli Messi starting to, to smile. Right. Well, what do you think about that? Please put in the chat. Let me see your comments. Right, I'm waiting for your comments. So again, all right, now in here I have, yeah, all right. So I don't agree. You are stating a fact. Exactly. Right. I would say that is a lie. Of course, it's a big lie. Right. It's subjective to me. Yes, it's true. It is subjective. All right. You are stating your opinion. Right. I am stating my opinion, but I am stating it as a fact. Okay. And there is here the problem. So I would say he's one of the best, not the best. Okay. One of the best. Not the best. Fine. Okay. More specific fact that is subjective to you. True. Okay. To be honest, if it was like to me, I would consider him the worst. But probably there were like many worse than him. So it is your opinion, but I agree with you. All right. So as you can see in here, we had many people who agree, other people who disagree. So when we talk about academic language, now in here we need to be cautious, and we need to be careful in the language that we are using, whether in a spoken English or whether in a written English. So in here, when basically we are dealing with very complex ideas that are few. Okay, there are few absolutes. There are usually alternative explanations which should be taken into consideration. For instance, let's get this example. All right, for instance, many people in the UK, they put a connection, okay, an association, okay, between floods in the UK and to the threat of climate change. So they link between the two, the floods in the UK, excessive, rain and floods in the UK, and because of climate change. Now, writing about this possible link, student might make the following statement in their writing. Let's look at the statement, and I put it in red color in order to show that, it is not cautious. It sounds like it is a fact, and it is not an opinion. So let's look together at the sentence. The recent flooding in the UK proves that climate change is a threat to this region. Now, in here, as you notice, that the sentence is, is delivered as a fact. And in here, many people may agree, some scholars may agree, and others, okay, may disagree. Okay, now, in here, we say that this is, in academic, in academia, or in academic context, we call that this statement is bold. Okay, is bold statement. It's not an opinion. It shows, the sentence as a fact. Now, how do we know that it is a fact? Let's look at this sentence. What makes it look as a fact? Can you see any words, special words, that can tell me that this sentence looks as a fact? How can you see? Yeah, exactly, Emmanuel. It is relative. Yeah, true. But again, in here, looking at this, it is in red color, as I said, because it is presenting the idea as a fact. Now, in here, excellent, Salako. So in here, Salako saying the word prove. What else? There is another word. Can you guess? Recent. Well, actually, recent in here, we are talking about, the time. But I'm talking about something that tells me it looks like a fact. So in here we have the word prove. It means that there is an evidence, okay, to it. All right. But as you can see in here, there is no evidence. But again, the word prove. Right. Thank you, Favor. Exactly. The word is. When we say is, it means that you are certain of this statement. You are certain that climate change is a threat. Now, in here, there are lots of debates about this. But anyway, we have two words, the word prove and the word is. Now, back again to my sentence when I talked about Donald Trump. So if I say Donald Trump is the best president in all American history. So in here, I'm saying is. It means I am certain. But as you can see in here, many people may disagree or agree with the, with the sentence. Again, as you know, that many people are supporting Donald Trump. Otherwise, he wouldn't have won the elections, before Kamala Harris. So what is the problem with this sentence? So there is a problem with this statement. It presumes that there is a definite connection between flooding in the UK and climate change. So because of the word prove and also is. At present, most scientists agree that this claim cannot be made with total certainty. This sentence, therefore, needs to be expressed more cautiously. So in this case, we need to be careful and we need to be cautious. So what techniques, what can we do in order to make the sentence cautious? What can we do in order to make our speech that we say is cautious? So for example, back again to Donald Trump, which makes me furious, to be honest. Just yesterday, he was talking about the events taking place in my country, Syria. And he said, Syria is a mess. Okay, you can see in here, the word is, it means that he is certain that it is a mess. And he doesn't know what's going on in reality on the ground. Okay, people started now celebrating and helping each other, and also releasing people from, you know, political prisons. Anyway, so in here, using verbs that shows certainty, it means that we are not cautious. So what can we do in order to be more cautious? Now, in redrafting the sentence, the student should consider the following hedging techniques. Now, as I told you, when you're writing your first draft of the literature review, or probably your methodology, or when you reach the conclusion, especially, you know, when you reach the conclusion at the end of your study. Now, in here, we need to be careful and we need to be cautious. So, what techniques we can use? I wonder if there is somebody's mic is on. I'm not
sure. It's going to be actually.
not sure whose mic is on, and if it can be. Sorry about that. Somebody's mic is on. All right. Okay, cool.
Olawale Steven, mute your phone.
I'm not sure if we can unmute or mute manually the person. Hopefully it's okay now. So what are these techniques? So let's look. So we can use, okay, hedging verbs, or we can use hedging adverbs and adjectives. And also we can use the language of probability and modal verbs, and also the use of hedging expressions. Let's look at each one of them. What are these hedging guides for students? Advice as it demonstrates too much certainty. So again, back again, the recent floodings in the UK proves that climate change is a threat to this region. So what we can do, we can use the word demonstrate, or we can use the word suggested. But as you can see in here, with the verb is, and again in here, it means that the sentence is still not cautious. And in here, we are not careful in our writing. So it has been demonstrated that climate change is, or you can say it has been suggested. So you can see now, instead of using the word prove, you can say suggest, okay? Or you can say demonstrate, okay? And instead of using is, you can say seems, or you can say appears. So climate change appears to be a threat to this region. So we have demonstrate, suggest, or you can use also indicate, okay? Or we can use the word propose, okay? So in here, demonstrate, suggest, indicate, and seems or appear. Now, looking at this sentence, in these cases, as you can see, the meaning of verb suggested is more tentative. Tentative, it means it's not that much certain. So there is tentative, there is a kind of, cautious language, being cautious, careful, than that of the verb demonstrated. So in here we have the word demonstrated and suggested, but the word suggested is more tentative, is more, I would say, uncertain, okay, than the word demonstrated. So in here, the second example is more cautiously written. So we have demonstrated and the word suggested. Now, so in here, we can use verbs like what? Like demonstrate, suggest, propose, seem, and appear. Next, we can also use adverbs and adjectives. So adverbs can be used in combination with verbs and adjectives to signal caution. In the previous example, for instance, one may use the adverb widely to signal a greater certainty. So instead of saying is, we can say or instead of saying proof, we can say widely suggested, widely proposed. So in here, it has been widely suggested. And again, in here, you are showing a greater certainty. Adverbs can be used in combination with adjectives, especially when considering probability. Let's look at this example. Now, it is fairly likely that climate change is a threat to this region. So as you can see in here, I'm using the verb fairly. It is likely that. So again, in here, using the word likely is an adjective. I know it has the ly, it's not an adverb, so it's an adjective. So in here, it is a fairly likely, but the word fairly, I would say it's an adverb, that climate change is a threat. Let's look at here. It's highly probable. So you can see here the adjective, the word probable, and also the adverb highly. You can say, for example, it is slightly. So you see now the difference between highly, slightly. Now, which one? This depends on your own conclusion, what you would like to conclude, and to what degree you would like to show the reader, to what certainty, okay, you would like to show the reader. So in here, as previously, the level of caution varies as highly indicates greater certainty than fairly. So if we are looking at this sentence and this, so we can see that the word highly probable, we are talking about greater certainty. So if you are less certain, so in this case, you would use fairly likely. So you see now in here, we can use verbs, and also we can use adverbs and adjectives. Adverbs, it could be like when we say possibly, probably, or adjectives like when you say possible, it is possible that, it is probable that, etc. Next, the third technique, which is the language of probability. And in here, we are using what we call modal verbs. So in here, modal verbs may be used to indicate cautiousness, such as can, may, might, and could. So for example, in here in the UK, and as you know, it rains a lot. Now people suggest that I take an umbrella with me. So if they are not sure, they can tell me it could rain today, or it could rain after an hour. Or they can tell me it may rain, okay, which is less certainty, okay? And if they say, for example, it might rain, and as you can see in here, the level of certainty goes down and down. So we have, for example, it can rain, it could rain, it may rain, and it might rain. So you see, every time the level of certainties goes down. However, if I say the word will, it will rain. So it means this indicates that the speaker is certain that this will happen. Okay? So in here, these can say that something is possible rather than definite. And as you can see in here, many politicians are using or should use the cautious language, or should use the language of probability, the modal verbs, may, could, might. Okay, so the modal verbs could and might are more cautious than the word can and may. Let's look at this. So climate change could be a threat. Okay, or we can say, for example, in here, it has been widely suggested that climate change could be a threat to this region, as the recent flood indicates. So I can say, for example, it could be a threat, or it may be a threat, or it might be a threat. So each time it gives me a different level of certainty. Again, in here, you will be using this kind of language in your conclusion. So again, depending on the results of your research, what would you like to suggest? What would you like that things to be, more certain? Okay, depending on your findings. So let's look at here at some of the hedging expressions. So basically, we looked at verbs, we looked at adjectives and adverbs, and also we looked at the language of a probability using modal verbs. And when we say modals, these like when we say will and would, shall and should, can and could, may and might, and must and had to. So these are the modal verbs. So what about the hedging expressions? So there are a number of fixed expressions that we can use in order to hedge a statement, in order to make it tentative statement, a cautious statement. So many of them are prepositional phrases. They include the following. Let's check. So to, it's a preposition. To some extent, or you can say to a great extent. So you see the difference, okay? When you say to some extent, to a great extent, or when you say all people, or most of the people, or many people, or some people, or few people. So you see in here the level of certainty, the level of number of people who agree with something. Okay, it goes down, down, down. All right? The majority or the vast majority, we say. When we say many, some, and then we go to say few, okay? Or a quite, small number of people. So we have also up to a point, in some or in many respects, in a one sense, or in a sense, or in one sense, more or less. Let's check here this example. In many respects, football should be regarded as a business rather than a sport. So as you can see in here, should be regarded. Okay, so if I change it to must be regarded, you see in here, I'm not cautious, I'm making a bold statement. Okay, and in here, this means that my writing is not like cautious. Right, and as you can see in here, in many aspects, or you can say to some extent, many people believe, many people think. So these are like some of the verbs when we say think or believe or think, believe, and for example, reckon. Right. Now, as for the hedging language, now we use a wide range of words and phrases can be used in hedging. So like, for example, can, could, may, might, as we said, probability adjectives, likely, possible, probably, probable, unlikely, or we use adverbs like perhaps, possibly, probably, presumably. And in here, finally, as you can see in here, frequency adverbs. Now, in here, frequency adverbs, it also can show, the number of frequency if you say always. So, for example, if we say that Donald Trump always lies. So again, in here, it is a kind of a bold statement. He does lie. He does make lots of lies, but not always. Right. So in this case, we can say Donald Trump usually lies. So if we go down, Donald Trump often lies, or Donald Trump sometimes lies, or Donald Trump rarely lies, okay, or Donald Trump never lies. So as you can see in here, the word always and the word never, they are not cautious, okay? They are not tentative because they are telling me that an action is happening all the time or an action that is not happening at all. And again, this is not tentative language. Does anybody have any questions so far? Because we're going to do some practice. So let's check in here. If you have any question, please put it on the chat. So it's time now for practice time. I do have in here with me some sentences, and I think we can do just, 5 of them. Can you see the sentences? I'm going to enlarge my, page. Can you see that? Can you see the Word file?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for your reply. So in here, let's look at these sentences. Are these sentences cautious or not cautious? Are they careful or not careful? Careful, I'm going to say, I'm going to put it in green, and not careful, I'm going to put it in red. Okay, right, so red is dead. Okay, let's go. So a lack of exposure to curriculum in other content areas demonstrates. So the word demonstrates, as we learned earlier, it shows that there is a level of tentativeness or being cautious. So we say demonstrates. And also we have the word may not be effectively. So the word may not be effectively, again, showing cautious. So this one is careful. Now let's look at number 2. All right, and here, what do you think about number 2? Yes, it is not careful. And why is that? Because of it's not, yes, it's not careful. It is certain because of the word is. And again, in here, the word certain. All right, so in here, it is not cautious. Now, next, number 3. And yes, here, the will. Yeah, thank you very much, John. Yes. In here, number 3, what do you think? So I'm going to put here 3. Yeah, might be and careful. Excellent. So it is here cautious language. So again, in here, it's not only, learning about cautious language. It doesn't only help us in writing, but also in reading. When we read texts, we can see to what extent the author is certain about the information that they are giving us, whether a spoken one or a written one. Now, number 4, as you can see in here, definitely proves. So this shows that it is not cautious. Next, go to number 5. What do you think about number 5? I'm going to put number 5 here. Yeah. What do you think about number 5? Yes, it is not careful. Right. But again in here, let's look at here. Look, believed. It is believed. So in here, we are talking about the verb. The verb actually is cautious. Okay? And instead of saying it is proved that massive increase in heroin use occurred during the second half, but it is believed. Okay, it is thought of, it is proposed. So in this case, we would say that it is cautious because of the word believed. It is believed, it is thought, it is proposed. Okay. Next, number 6, and let's finish. Okay, so in here, number 6, as you can see in here, yes, exactly, Elizabeth. Believed, it means cautious, it is believed. So some people, may not believe in that, but it is believed. Okay, next. It is not cautious. Well, let's look at here. Look, we have the word often. Yes. So in this case, it is cautious one. Why? Because of the word often. Let's change it to the word always. So in here, meeting human needs always causes environmental degradation. So as you can see, if I said always, it means it is not cautious. But actually, because of the word often, it is cautious. Right. Okay. So now in here, let's move on and talk about another topic, which is part 2 of our session. Now, we're moving to talk about paraphrasing. What is paraphrasing? Now, according to Oxford Dictionary, it is to express what somebody has said or written using different words, especially in order to make it easier to understand. Okay? So, in here, I would ask this question. Why do we paraphrase? Could I ask you to hello? Yeah, I think somebody's mic is on. Right. Right. I'm going to share my screen again. So yes, I was muted. Sorry. Right. So why do we paraphrase? So since we learned about that paraphrasing, it is to express what somebody has said or written, but using different words. Now in here, I believe that I've got some responses. So we paraphrase in order to display our thoughts. Is it our thoughts? And what we think about the subject matter? Is it about thoughts? Now in here, you are concluding something. If it is about our thoughts, it means that we're devising a new text, okay? If we are talking about to demonstrate understanding of the main idea, yes, Zainab, exactly. To avoid plagiarism, yes. And to acknowledge the author, yes. To avoid repeating the same statements over and over again. So yes, and all of these together. So why do we paraphrase? Basically, we paraphrase in order to show that we understand the material, whether it is a spoken material or it is a written material. If you read something, you need to show that you understand it, especially, you know, in your assignments or probably in your research. So in here, it shows that you have read something and you have understood what you have read. So you need to show that you have understood what you have read, and also to help you convey the idea you found in the source material. So in here, you find an information and you need to convey this information in your own text or probably in your own speech. And as you already said, you said that plagiarism is not accepted nor tolerated, and it is considered as an academic offense, illegal academic act, and it is not acceptable in, you know, academic context. So in here, if you like find some information and then you copy this information and you put it straight away in your assignment or in your research, this doesn't show that you have understood the original material. Okay, but that doesn't mean that you can not copy at all. Of course, we can copy. Okay, we can copy exact word, and that is when we use quotations. And we're going to talk about it in a bit. Now, let's look here at this text. Now, I want you to take a moment to read this text, and I'm going to give you 1 minute to do that. Okay, so 1 minute, I want you to read that text, and I want you to understand the text. Giving you 1 minute to do that. I just asked that if you can read the text and understand what's being said in there. "30 seconds left." Right. So as you can see in here, this person is called Bernie Siegel, 1986, and this material was published in 1986. And as you can see in here, in the bottom, okay, right-hand side of the screen, there is the full reference. So in here, we have the family name, Siegel, and B is the initial of the first name, the year of publishing the material, which is a book. And as you can see in here, Love, Medicine, and Miracles, page 69. And it was published in New York City in the in a printing press called Harper and Row. Now, what does it say? we do not understand all the ways in which brain chemicals are related to emotions and thoughts. But the salient point is that our state of mind has an immediate and direct effect on our state of body. Let's say that you have read this text in a textbook, okay, in the book, and what you would like to do, you need to reference, or let's say you need to use this text in your writing. Right. So in this case, what we need to do, we need to paraphrase. And what I'm going to do now, I'm going to show you that original text with a paraphrased text. So let's look at here. So I want you to read the text again and highlight the differences. So this is the original text, as you can see in here. And this is in here at the bottom right-hand side of the screen. There is the full reference. And then, as you can see in here now, down there, there is the paraphrased text. Now, what I want you to do, I want you also to take some time, let's say 1 minute again, and I want you to compare and contrast between the two. So what can you see? What differences you can highlight? For example, I'm going to put here the word understood. Look at the difference. Okay, the word understood, or sorry, understand. And if we go and check the word below, or the text below, sorry, we will find that it is understood. So in here, this is the difference between understand in the first original text and the paraphrased one, understood. So what differences you can see? I'm going to give you also 1 minute to do that. Please put your answers in the chat. Right, so in here I have first one from Chika, thank you. Salient point, it's known. Yeah, well done. Okay, state of the body, psychological state. Sorry, no, when we talk about, please, you know, the state of body, we are talking here about the body. So psychology, it's something related to mind, right? So state of mind, human psychological state, state of mind, human psychological state, immediate, instantly, state of mind, psychological state, yes, true. Emotions, okay, feelings, effects, yes, good difference, affects, and then the word thought, okay, well, the word thought, it's the same. Immediate, instantly, brain chemicals, brain chemistry. Yes, state of body, it's a physical state. Yes, excellent. Thank you very much. All right, it was like less than 1 minute. Right, brain chemical, brain chemistry. We do not, okay, it is claimed, right, okay, instantly, etc. Direct effect. Fully understood, do not understand all the way. Yes, thank you very much. You have spot all the differences, actually. Now, let's go and check how to paraphrase. Now, let's see the techniques in more details, all right? And let's, I would say, categorize what you have put in the chat. Let's check. So, in order to paraphrase, what we need to do, we need to change words for synonyms. So, for example, emotions, we can say feelings. The word chemicals, we say chemistry. And then the state of mind, we say psychological state. State of body, we say physical state. So in this case, in order to paraphrase, I need to change, okay, that synonyms or probably antonyms. You know, when we say, for example, it is a small, all right, a small place, or I can say it is not big place. So you see in here, I used big and small, but I said it's not big place. Right. Next, we can change the word forms. So as you put in here, thank you very much. So we have the word effect. Effect, it's a noun, and I change it to affect. It's a verb. Related, relationships, noun, from verb to noun. Immediate. Now, the word immediate, it is an adjective. And I can say the synonym for immediate, it's instant. But again in here, the word instant is an adjective. I can put ly to it. So in this case, it will be instantly. All right. So in here, immediate, adjective, instantly is an adverb. And then we have the word understand, and we say understood in the past participle. Now let's check in here. Aha! Now this is what we learned last week. You remember when we talked about changing the sentence structure, and we talked about simple, compound, and complex. So in this case, you can probably see, you read a text, okay, a book, let's say a text in a book, and in this text, in this extract, you will find a complex sentence structure. So in this case, you can change it to compound structure, or you can change it to two simple sentences. All right. Now, as you can see in here, look at here, changing the sentence structure. We do not understand A, but we know about B. Or you can say, although A is not understood, it is known that X and Y and Z. So you can also change the structure, and you can also change the sentence from active to passive, from passive to active. Okay, so if you find a sentence in the original text that is in the active, you can change it into a passive, okay, sentence, or vice versa. Now, let's check in here. So in order to paraphrase, okay, techniques, first of all, and the most important, understand the material. Next, change words for synonyms and antonyms. Also, change word formation, noun, adjectives, adverbs, or verbs. Change the sentence structure, and do not forget this. Cite your source. So if we go back, and let's look at here at this text, can you see the word seagull, 1986? At the bottom here. I don't know if the computer cursor or the arrow, can you see the arrow? I don't know. Right, okay. So as you can see in here, thank you very much. Thank you, Benedicta. So in here, you notice that I used the family name, and then in here, I used the year of publication. Now in here, this is, we call it in-text citation. All right, because we put it in the text. So again, how to paraphrase? First, understand the material. Second, change words for synonyms. Third, change word forms, adjectives, adverbs, noun, verbs, and also change sentence structure. And finally, don't forget to cite your source. Let's look here at this text. And I would tell you that this text in red is a plagiarized text. Why? Please put that on the chat. I'm waiting for your answers. Why do you think that this text is a So in here, no citation, excellent. And yes, the main text is pretty much like similar, okay, to the paraphrased one, to, so-called paraphrased one. Similar sentence structure, excellent. Yes, exactly. So in this case, this shows me that, the writer, okay, didn't understand, the text. okay, and did not understand what they have written. Another one, let's look at here, the same thing, okay, we have now the same thing, but also I put a citation. It is still considered the same. Why? Because it's the same sentence structure, just changing few synonyms, but it doesn't show that this person has understood the text. So why is the text plagiarized? Similar to the original, vocabulary are still the same or changed very little, no change for word forms and no change of sentence structure. And in the first one, as you already mentioned, there was no citation. Now, let's move to another aspect of academic writing, which is in-text citation. Now, in academic writing, we do have two kinds of in-text citation. We have what we call information prominent citation, or we call it author prominent citation. Sometimes they call this one is weak citation, but it has nothing to do with weak and strong. It's just the name, okay? So, and here we have two, information prominent citation and author prominent citation. Let's look at the example. Now in here, as you can see, information prominent. The word prominent, it means obvious, it means clear, it means something that you can spot easily. So as you can see in here, information prominent citation, I put the information at the beginning while the citation, I put it at the end. Why? Because information here is more important. So for example, if you are talking about the number of people who died because of coronavirus, okay, and in Europe or probably in the world. So you can say, for example, 3,560,000 people died because of coronavirus, according to WHO 2022, for example. Okay, I'm just saying that an example. All right, the figures are not true. I've just made it up my mind. Okay, now, so in here, the information I put it at the beginning by talking about X number of people died because of the coronavirus. And then at the end, I put the source, I would say, according to WHO 2022. Now, in here, the information is important. Okay, and as you can see, or sometimes, you know, you notice in the news, sometimes they put the name of the person at the beginning, and sometimes they put the information at the beginning. Okay, now let's look at the other type of citation. This is, we call it author prominent citation. In this one, as you can see in here, I put the name of the author at the beginning of, you know, the paraphrased text. So in this case, I can say Siegel, 1986, of course, between two parentheses, claims that, okay? And then I put my paraphrased text. And as you can see in here, the author is prominent, the author is clear, is obvious, okay, to us. So that's why we put it at the very beginning. So again, in here, if I say, according to WHO, World Health Organization, 2022, there were around X number of people died because of coronavirus. So in here, I'm putting the stress, okay? I'm stressing, I'm highlighting the author or the source of information, okay? Now, in here, we call it author prominent citation. Now, as earlier I said, sometimes we need to copy exact words, okay? That's been said probably, again, by WHO or probably by a certain, you know, public figure or an official, etc. So I need to quote, I need to use exact words. In academic context here in the UK, authors are allowed to use 20%, okay, of quotation in their work. So, for example, if you are writing a 2,000-word essay, so in this case, you are allowed to use 200 percent of quotations. But again, in here, the more you use quotations, the more you show that you don't understand the materials. But again, sometimes we need to use quotations. So what do we do? In this case, again, we have, information, prominent citation, and author prominent citation. In here, I used author prominent citation. But as you can see in here, there is a page number. Why? Because I am quoting. And as you can see in here, there is quotation marks, and they are in green color. I don't know if they are clear to you. I hope they are. So if they are, please let me know, just to put my mind at ease. Right. I hope they are clear. The quotation marks yeah, thank you. Thank you, Benedicta. So in here, you notice I put the year of publication, and I put the page number, and then in here I put quotation marks. This is to show that I copied exact same words from the source. Right. I believe that is all for today. Okay. So today we talked about the two things. The first one, we talked about cautious language, how we can be cautious. And now, from now on, please listen to what Donald Trump is saying. Then in this case, we can see, to what extent this person might be controversial, or should I say, this person is controversial. Right. The paragraph structure. We talked about paragraph structure in a previous week, actually. I think. Yeah, when we talked about the main structure, having the introduction, the body, and the conclusion. Right. Right. Okay. Yeah. Well, I would say probably it would be like at a different occasion, or what I can say is I can send you the materials for this, Olimasi. All right. So what I can do, I can prepare the material for you, okay, to put it in a PDF file, so you can, see that one. Is that okay? And as for the practice, I would, I would give you this text, okay, to work on. All right. And at the same time, there will be what I would call, all right, just a moment. Okay. Yeah, there will be this one. So based on what we covered in this session, you need to double check your work that you previously produced, the literature review of your research project, and make sure that you have applied the following: cautious language in your writing, paraphrasing appropriately. And when I say paraphrasing appropriately, this includes the in-text citation. All right. Does anybody have any question? So today we talked about the cautious language and what techniques we can use in order to use cautious language. That is using verbs, using the language of probability, using adjectives and adverbs, and using some expressions. We also talked about paraphrasing, and in order to paraphrase, we need to understand the material, and we need to change words for synonyms or antonyms, and also change the word formation, change the sentence structure, and don't forget the important one, which is the citing the source. We said we have two kinds of in-text citation: author prominent citation, where you put the name of the author at the beginning, or information prominent citation, where you put the information at the beginning and the author at the end. Right. Thank you very much, Bonji. I really appreciate your feedback. I do have Ruqaybat, I think. Yes, you have a question.
Thank you so much.
Please.
Can I go on?
Yes, please.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. My question is, when you carry out a plagiarism check on your work and it shows that it was about 10% plagiarized, and when you checked, it is the sections where you quoted a work. The question now is, are there limits to the number of quotations you can have in your work where you have to copy the person's word direct, even though you eventually cite them? How many is recommended per academic work?
Right, thank you very much. Okay, it's a very clear-cut question. So basically, when you put like a quotation marks, I would say that this shouldn't be like, shown and turn it in or in the software telling me that there is a similarity. But if it does show, okay, me as, I would say, as a supervisor or an academic tutor checking this, and once I see that the work has been quoted correctly, appropriately, so it will be overlooked, so it will be okay. Don't worry at all about it. But as I said earlier, if you would like to use the quotation, yes, you can use, but that will be up to 19%, less than 20% as an overall. Does that answer your question, Ruqaybat?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you very much for your feedback. Ayumidi, Ayumite, and I'm really sorry. I apologize if I'm not pronouncing the names correctly. Please accept my apology for this. As I did last week, I'm going to send this material with other material about the topic sentences and also about paragraph structure to you. So this will hopefully give you a better idea how we can structure a paragraph. It will be pretty much, easy to spot and easy also to follow. And I'm going to include also an example from an article, so you can look at the main sentence in this paragraph and also the rest of information in that paragraph. So it would be very clear to you to to see and analyze. Thank you, Favor, for your feedback again, and I really appreciate your feedback, and it is an honor being with you. Thanks to Oliye Messi for giving me the opportunity to be with you, and I wish you all the best in your research projects. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Zaki. We're sure
Thank you.
enjoy the class. Thank you so much. And you made it very simple. So we're really glad. We're really glad about that. Thank you so much. And I'm sure you will want to have a wonderful celebration where celebrating Syria's freedom from anarchy. So just
Thank you. I really appreciate many words.
All right.
And as before, I wish like we are doing it this physically. I would have some sweets and candy.
Oh, yes, you always do.
Yeah.
You always do. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
So I'm going to be sending you some of the student feedback like I did last week. And then we will expect the lecture on how to write a good paragraph. So we'll be sending that to the class and we will follow up. So it's a pity that this whole program is structured and the class is jam-packed. If not, would have loved to have you one more time. But we'll see how it goes. Maybe in some of our seminars, we'll definitely we'll wait to hear the students' feedback. Wherever we have bottleneck, we'll see where we can organize something. Thank you so much.
I wish you all a happy Merry Christmas. Assalamu alaikum.
Some of the facilitators, the lecturers and mentors are also in the lecture room. They've been hearing you. So, and they've given you feedback as well. So
Thank
you
you.
did well. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. So do
Goodbye.
have a good
Assalamu
evening. Thank
alaikum.
you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. To the class, we've sent the feedback form. Thank you for listening. I'm sure we learned something. I'm definitely sure about that. So we're going to be, we've sent you the feedback form. You can send your feedback by filling this link. We'll send it to Zaki. He'll take a look at it, and the admin is also looking at it to see how we can make things better. So once again, we appreciate every one of you. And as we have said, I hope we have read the class rules. If any student misses 3 consecutive class and you've not participated in activity 3 times, we're sorry, we may have to pull such students away from the program because it means you are not interested in the program. Because the truth of the matter is that from the structure of the program, you have seen now that if you actually miss 1 class, you have missed a whole chunk of whatever it is you have to learn. So we need to try and just be committed because your lecturers are committed. Some of the mentors, the feedback was that in their group, for group activity, only 1 or 2 students submitted activities. So if lecturers have made themselves available in spite of their busy schedule, if you have signed up for the program, I don't see any reason why you shouldn't make yourself available. So we need to work on that. And also you have seen the reward tag. At the end of 4 weeks, some students are going to be rewarded for their hard work. At the end of 8 weeks, some people will also get some reward. Then in 6 months' time, there's a major competition coming up on research, apart from our school program. And we will ask students who have participated particularly in this program. That competition is actually for students who have participated in this program. We want to see your end results at the end of your submission to your school. And if you have actually done a research work before and you're aspiring to do your master's, whatever you have done before, we will want to see how you have applied your knowledge in this program to that work. So we appraise it and we'll give you a good feedback. There's a reward, okay? So hard work, there's reward for every hard work. So that's what we are trying to promote, the spirit of excellence and reward for hard work. So I want to thank everybody. Do you have any feedback for admin? This is where to talk about it so that we can quickly adjust as we're moving on in the program. We've had 2 classes. We know the rules now. We know what is expected of us. So sometimes for those of you that are doing late submission, Thursday is the last day for submission of activity so that mentors can look at it and give you feedback before the next lecture. So please, let's work on it if we need to submit anything on activity. So if you have any feedback for the admin, this is the time to drop it so that we quickly work on it. Any feedback? Okay, so if there's no feedback.
Sorry, ma. Somebody is raising his hand, so he can't speak.
Okay, please go ahead. I can't see that in my.
Okay, thank you very much, ma. So, Ruben Marcus, I'm one of
I can't hear your voice well.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, I said thank you for this great opportunity. I am Nasruben Marcus from Nigeria. So my question is for the first, that's when we were added on the group after applying and other things, we are not familiar with all these things, and it's normal in almost every program. But now we are getting familiar with all these things. So what's our first, those that missed the first class, because it's really interesting, and this is a class, it's a class that has link with each other. So missing the previous one will not be good for us. So if we can have like a recording, or if there is any way you can support us to have the first class in order to catch up with what we've missed. So that's my own concern. And another one, I'm not a student. For now, I'm not a student. I've graduated. But I was fortunate enough to get this opportunity, and I will not I will take it serious because I like research and I want to apply for my PhD. And there are a lot of things I will need to know more because I'm done with my master's in public health. So I don't know what am I to feel my undergraduate university, or how do I do that?
Yes, you can apply it to any of your projects you have done before, because from next week now, we're going to be going into the research proper, starting from the introduction to research and every step of the way, everything you're going to do in research. So if you have a previous work done, it will be a good opportunity to look at. Like today now, you've heard about the kind of language you're supposed to use, how to be cautious, how to be edgy and all that. So you just go and look at your work and see if you have actually applied all those principles. If not, you can rephrase, you can correct, and as it goes on, it keeps getting better. When you just practice all the time, it keeps getting better. So then for the lecture that has been done before, we want to say that in the groups, I think many people, the problem we're having now is that we notice that many people are not paying attention. We've tried to use different strategies to try to make sure that you people get up-to-date information. The slides for the first lecture has been sent into all the groups. We sent it like 2 times. So that even if you have missed any lecture at any point in time, you can still see it there. So if at any point in time you have missed and you are active in the group, because the admin is tracking activity in the group. If they know that you are active, if you send them a message, they will reply you immediately. Just contact any of the admin. They will reply you immediately and send you the information you are looking for. But if you have been passive in the group, for example, I do not see your name on the attendance, I've not seen any of your activity. If you're asking me such question, I probably will not pay attention. So look into your group. If you scroll up, most likely it is there. Then Jerry, can we pin the last lecture to the announcement group for the last time before we now put this particular lecture?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you are going to have that. Any other question, please? Any other question? Is housekeeping issues now? Let's tidy up.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
Yeah, okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am, for this opportunity.
Hello? I'm not hearing that voice clearly. Jerry, are you hearing that person?
No, the network is bad. You should put a chat on the chat.
Okay, maybe you can put a chat, please. The network is bad. Let's talk about our housekeeping issue so that we can sort out ourselves. So because we are trying, some of our lecturers, as we talk, even in this meeting, some of our lecturers, they are lecturing today, postgraduate classes in their schools, and they are still making time for you. Some of them are HODs. So if they can do that, I'm not sure we have any excuse as students, if truly we are the one that signed up voluntarily. So it's that everybody is that busy. Everybody is that busy. I've had to cancel all my work schedule for all the Sundays for the next 8 weeks just to be here. So let's talk now, so that if you are asking some questions in the group and you think that people are not responding to you, is because you are not asking the right questions. So if there is any issue, let's sort it out now so that we can all be on the same page. Because from next week, Dr. Anokuri is going to be here to talk about introduction to research. How you frame your research question. We are going to be sending the learning outcomes into the group so that you have an expectation of what you are going to learn next week. So if I were you, for those of you that have submitted your activity for last week, use that work that you have paraphrased, or that literature paragraphs that you have submitted, or use the article that you have highlighted. Look at the languages and apply what you have learned today into it to see if you have done the right thing, so that you can actually understand. Because the moment you don't do it, you forget as time goes on. But the moment you apply, it's there. So next week is going to be, we're starting 6 o'clock on the dot, because our lecturer is very busy on Sundays from morning till 7. But she's going to make out time to be here from 6 so that she can give us a good lecture. Let's just try to attend. And hope you people are seeing your school analysis also. So we are also analyzing your attendance, as in which school did what. The reason is because at the end of the day, if any school is asking for technical support, that your NONSA organization is asking us for technical support in relation to research, we want to be sure that you have actually participated effectively in any program that we have done. So we are also looking at that. So if you're attending this program, you are learning something. It's a sense of responsibility for you to tell your friends also who have registered and say, you will need to attend the class. So, and if there is any way you think we can factor in anything that will make it easier for everybody, please tell us. We are just learning together. Any other question before we move out for the day? All right, I want to really, really appreciate everybody once again. Tolu, is there any issue you need to pass across?
No, ma'am. Everything is okay. Okay, I just want to reiterate the reason why some people came in late. Please, anytime you are coming in, check your name on the Zoom platform. Make sure you put your full name. We don't want slangs, we don't want techno, whatever, so that you can be admitted in time. Thank you.
Okay, Zion, you are asking something about the last class. I just answered that question a few minutes ago. So contact the admin. The answer is already in your group. So interact with your mentors. If you don't, they are busy, they won't respond to you. Interact in your group properly. All right. Any other questions? So if there is nothing to talk about, I think it's a good place to take our leave. Thank you very much. Have a blessed week. I'm always available 2 4 10. Just send me a message.